It's true, Holly. Honest. One day I got the bright idea that Combustion, our resident Stallion, and I should try to do some round pen work. The entrance seemed a bit small, so I opened it up a little more just to be on the safe side. Then I asked him to come over so we could get started. He did, and said he thought he knew how to do it, so I said, well, okay, go do round pen work. From what I'd heard, I was fairly certain he wasn't doing it quite right, so I asked him to come back out for a minute so we could talk. Then I explained to him that I wasn't sure myself, but I thought that he was supposed to, go round and round in it. He said he'd try it again, gave me another kiss, and off he went. I wasn't certain if it did any good, but I tried to help him along by motioning with my hand. I thought we were doing okay, but there was some commotion in the woods behind me, so I asked him to stop for a minute so I could figure out what was going on. As usual, he wanted to come along, but I said he'd better wait there until I found out what was causing all the ruckus. As I got closer, I could hear whatever it was running off deeper in the woods, so I told him it was okay for him to come along now. He did. Gave me another one of his hugs. I asked him if we could go for a little walk. He responded with a joyful burst of frolicking and bucking and rearing, as though telling the whole world that he was a great stallion whose spirit is untouched by domestication. I agreed that he certainly was a great stallion, but I couldn't possibly keep up with him, and asked him if we could please walk a little slower with me. While we were walking, he told me that the neighbors' horses had some really bad experiences with their round pen work. I said if it was so bad, then why didn't they just quit and run off? He said they couldn't because the owners locked them in and then chased them around with ropes and whips. I wondered what trapping them in a round pen and chasing them was supposed to teach them. It certainly couldn't create a positive relationship. He asked if we could do a little circle play the way we always had in his pasture. So I said, sure, let's go. Our circle play has nothing to do with training. We only do it once or twice a day to detect any possible abnormalities in their responses or movements. It's always better to catch the first onset of colic or any one of a number of lameness issues before they escalate and become more severe. He kept asking me to do more circle play, so once again, I agreed with him. Said sure, a little more is okay, knowing that too much rotational work isn't good for them, especially in one direction. I asked him to turn around and go the other way. Later that fall, we tried the round pen work again, but this time with Combustion on the outside while I stood inside. It just wasn't the same as when we played out in his pasture without a wall between us. As I watched him, I thought of those other horses he'd mentioned. That type of round pen work can be very stressful for a horse, and chronic stress can lead to ulcers, and ulcers can lead to colic. Stress hormones also puts them in a fight or flight mode. When that happens, their energy is directed to survival, and any learning stops. It's no wonder some horses react aggressively to that type of training. Others submit to learned helplessness or even worse, shut down completely. Coupled with the physical damage of excessive rotational work, not to mention the mental and emotional trauma, I am at a loss why anyone would do that to a horse. Perhaps there are times when we become so accustomed to doing things a certain way traditionally we can't see the forest for the trees. Horse owners all over the world come from different walks of life, from different nations and different cultures. Yet there are commonalities that some of us share that surpass language and cultural barriers. We strive to preserve our horse's spirit and not diminish it. We want as much as possible for their lives to be filled with joy and contentment. We learn that their heart and spirit affects their mind and body. We understand and appreciate their culture and cherish their love and friendship. And we get a lump in our throat watching them joyfully leap and buck, celebrating a love for life that no other animal on the face of the earth could ever match. If you are one of those horse owners, then we invite you to consider friendship training.